Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. So we will learn inshallah one ayat, which is a long one of Surah Ibrahim, ayat number 22. The background of this ayat, and actually the explanation, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayat is mentioning a scene or a situation of the Day of Judgment where all the people will be standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their hisab, for their accountability. And then the judgment will be made based on every person's performance in this worldly life. After that, the people will be separated into those who will be heading to the paradise, and the other group of people who will be marked to go to the Jahannam. So at that moment, at that time, Shaitan will stand up and he will speak about certain things. He will give a short, brief speech. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has quoted in this ayat what Shaitan will say at that moment, at that time, when the judgment has been finished. So we'll do a simple translation first, and then we will go and do a detailed breakdown. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ, and the Shaitan will say, لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, when the matter was or would have been decided or had been decided, which means all the judgment of the accountability of the people has been finished. After that, Allah says Shaitan will say something. And then his words are, he will say, Inna Allaha, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa'adakum, he promised you people. He will address the mankind, those who will be marked to be punished. He will address them and he will say, Allah made a promise to you in the worldly life. And wa'adal haqqi, what promise he did was truth. Whatever Allah promised you, that if you obey him, you will be rewarded. If you obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be rewarded in the hereafter. Otherwise, you will be punished. So that is the promise of truth. So Shaitan will say that Allah in the worldly life made a promise to you people, and that was a true promise. Then he will further say, Shaitan will say, wa wa'adtukum, and I also made a promise to you in the worldly life. I told you certain things, I gave you hope about certain things, and that was the false promise that I made to you. Then he says, فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ, and after I made promise to you, I betrayed you. I was not true to you because my purpose was to mislead you. Then he will say after that, وَمَا كَانَ لِيَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ, and I had no authority over you. In the worldly life, I was not in a position that I could force you to do certain things. All I did, illa an da'awtukum, I called you only. Only thing I did to you in the worldly life, I invited you, I called you towards doing the disobedience and wrong things. So what you did, you will tell the people, fastajabtum, so you responded me, you followed what I told you to do. So today, fastajabtum li, you obeyed me, you followed me, you responded me for my false invitation to you. So today, fala talumuni, do not blame me today. On the day of judgment, after the judgment is done, do not blame me. Walumu anfusakum, but blame your own selves because you followed me All I did, invited you and you followed me. So today, do not blame me, blame your own selves. Then he further says, Ma ana bimusrikhikum. So today, you can cry for help, I cannot rescue you. You're crying for help, you're crying to protection or anything, I am not going to be able to help you at all today. وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُسْرِخِيَّ. And you are not going to be able to help me at all in this situation today. And then he will further says, Inni kafartu, I completely reject bima ashraktumuni min qabl. Before, like in the worldly life, you were associating me. I today reject that. I do not believe in that, and I am of no help to you. Inna zalimina lahum azabun alim. For the wrongdoers today, there is a very painful punishment. So this is basically a statement or a speech that Shaitan will give to those people who will be marked to the azabun alim, or towards a severe punishment. So with this, we will do some breakdown of these words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the purpose of this ayat is very clear, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the people in this worldly life, that this is what's going to happen on the day of judgment. So make sure that in the worldly life, Shaitan does not mislead you, or you do not follow the whispering of the Shaitan, because he will be a loser on the day of judgment, and you will be the loser, and because you followed him. So this is a very clear message Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving to mankind. So we'll go back in the beginning and we'll do a breakdown. The ayat starts with وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ. Here, one more time I want to point out something, and that rule is repeating here, is that in the worldly life, we define different time zones. So we have a past tense, we have a present tense, we have a future tense. There are 3 time zones that we live through in the worldly life. Now, in the Arabic language and in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the division is that we have a past which has happened. Yesterday was a past, it has happened. Then you have a present tense, and then you have a future tense. So we live in these 3 time zones in the worldly life. Now, in the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is another time zone that will come after these 3 time zones have gone, which is the day of judgment. So that is hereafter. And that is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is informing us. We do not know anything about that unless He tells us. So the way Arabic grammar works is that if something has happened in the past, for example, somebody said something, so the word for that will be qala. Qala means he said. Somebody said something, and it is a past tense. So third person he, and said. So that is a past tense. Now, one thing in Arabic they do is that this action definitely has happened. Somebody did say, you cannot deny it. So this is called a definite statement. Definite means it did happen, because we all observe this, or we all notice that it has happened, it cannot change. Present and future are very, very uncertain. They may come, they may not come. Future may not come for us. Present is very short. So in Arabic, these 2 time zones are combined in one word, and that is pronounced as yaqulu. Yaqulu is used for both present and future, and the meaning of this is a he says, as well as its meaning is he will say. Both meanings are there. Why one word is used for both? In English we have separate word, he says and he will say. But in Arabic there is only one word. When yaqulu is used, he says or he will say, you have to translate based on the context. If somebody is talking about tomorrow, then the same word will be translated as he will say. But if somebody is talking right now, present, at this moment, then yaqulu will be translated as he says. So these are the divisions. Now there is another time zone which Allah tells us, which is the day of judgment or hereafter. That is a definite thing that is going to happen because it's a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a statement, somebody definitely, this, as I said, this is a definite statement. So we also use the word qala for the hereafter. Okay. It's a definite thing that's going to happen, but if the reference is day of judgment, then qala will be translated as in English, he will say. He will say. So same word qala is being translated as he said if it is worldly life, past tense. The same word qala will be translated he will say if the reference is the day of judgment. So this is a very important concept in Quran, that whenever you see the word which is according to the worldly command is a past tense, but in the hereafter it will be translated as a future tense. So the ayat starts with the waqala, and he will say. Okay, who is he? The word is ash-shaytanu after that. So we will translate the shaitan will say. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the reader that shaitan will speak, shaitan will say something. What will he say? That's being quoted after that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is first defining the time, when will he say. Okay, and that's the next three words, lamma qudiyal amru. So the word lamma is again a time word. Lamma means when or whenever, but here when, and when is time, but which time it is. Okay, next two words are telling that qaf, duad and ya. Qada. Qada means to make a judgment. We know these common words in Urdu. Qadi is a person who makes a judgment. Okay, so qada, qaf, da, duad and ya means to judge about something. Okay, so if I put three fathas, this becomes qada, and it is written as qaf, duad together, and the meaning of that is he, some person, and this ya with a fatha is written as a short alif and pronounced qada. Qada means he, third person, judged something, past tense. Qada, he judged. Okay, now this is just a statement, but if I make the following changes, if I change this to a dhamma or a pesh and change this one to a kasra, zair, it becomes qodiya. This has become a passive. So that's how you make active to passive. Qada, he did something, active. Qodiya, something was done to him, like he killed, he was killed. So that is how you make the passive. Qodiya means it has been judged. It was judged. Something has been judged. That's the meaning of qodiya. That's the word combined with the other word amr. Amr means command or judgment or decision. Anything is amr. Allah's amr or the judgment. So Qudi al-amru, al-amru means the matter. Al-amru means the matter. So when you combine these two, you pronounce Qudi, you combine ya with the lam and do not pronounce this alif, but it becomes ya. Qudi al-amru, the matter has been judged, the affair has been resolved, judgment has been made. So what is being said here? On the day of judgment, lamma, when the matter has been judged, which means all the people who are standing in front of Allah, their hisab kitab is done, their accountability is finished. It has been decided who will go where on that day. After that, so that's the time zone. Allah is telling that something will happen. Qudi al-amr, the matter will be decided about the people. After, when it has been decided, after that, waqala shaitan, or shaitan will say something. Okay. Now what is he going to say? Allah is quoting his speech here. First he will say, Inna Allaha wa'adakum. Okay. So inna means surely. So shaitan knows the truth that inna means surely, and Allahu become Allah because of the inna changes. So word is Allahu, but inna will change to laha. Inna Allaha. So he will start his speech with these two words. Definitely, surely Allah. He will start with that. What Allah is doing here? Wa'adakum is a common word. Wa'ada means to promise. Wow, ain, dal means to make a promise. Wa'da karna, to make a promise. So this is the three root letters. So if I put three fathas, it becomes a grammar of past tense. Wa'ada, he promised. The meaning of wa'ada is he, third person, promised. Now, the word before that is Allah. And as mentioned before that, if the noun comes before or after, it brings a different concept. If I say wa'ad Allah, meaning is Allah promised. But if I say Allah wa'ada, it means it's a definite, Allah is the one who promised. So the word is Inna Allaha, indeed it is Allah. Wa'ada, he promised, and kum means you people. So he will address the people, whoever are there in front of him, and he says, Allah made a promise to you, and this is about in the worldly life. He is reminding a promise that Allah has made to all you people. And then he further says, to emphasize that the word is wa'ada, so noun is wa'adun, and when we stop we say wa'ada, but the word is wa'adun. Wa'adun means a promise, okay? Wa'adun means promise, and al-haqqo means the truth. So we have two words, al-haqqo means the truth, and wa'adun means promise. You combine these two, join them together by putting an off in between. So in English it will become promise of truth or true promise. Okay, that's in English by putting an off. In Arabic, when you put an off on the first word, you remove one dhamma, and on the second word you take the last letters pesh or dhamma and change to a kasra. Then you read them together. So first it will be wa'adul haqqi. If these two words are only there, then the sound will be wa'adul haqqi, and the meaning will be the promise of the truth or a true promise. But this word wa'adu is coming after a verb, which is a wa'ada, he promised. So when a noun comes after the verb, we change this to a fataha according to the rule of the Arabic, So it becomes wa'adal haqqi. That's the word in the Quran. Wa'adakum, He promised you. Allah promised you. And He further says, wa'adal haqqi, it was the promise of truth. Allah did make a true promise to you. Okay, so that is his statement. Then he further continues his speech. Then he says, wa wa'attukum. Let's understand that. The first wow is and. Okay. And the word is still is going to be using at wow and in a dal. Wa'ada means to promise. If I have the word fa'ala means to do, and if I put a ta at the end and may pronounce as fa'altu, fa'altu, adding this ta with the dhamma brings the meaning of I. Fa'altu, I did. Okay. So we will use this rule of grammar that we will add a ta here. So this will become wa'adtu. Wa'adtu means I promised. I is here shaitan. Shaitan is saying I promised. Okay. Now in the rule of tajweed, the makharij of the letter dal and ta are very close out of the tongue by the teeth. So instead of pronouncing dal and ta, we pronounce ta twice and do not pronounce dal. So this is wa'attu. Wa'attu is just a tajweed. Wa'attu means I promised. Shaitan is saying I promised. Then you add kum. Kum means you. You means the people he is addressing. So he is telling that wa'attukum, and I also promised. Allah made a promise to you, his promise was truth. But I also made a promise to you in worldly life. Wa'attukum. Okay. Then he says, what did I do after I promised you? False hopes, whispers, all these are the promises of shaitan to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to mislead. These are all the tricks that shaitan uses in worldly life to mislead mankind. So that's what he's saying. I also promised you certain false things. So what did I do? The word is fa'akhlaftukum. So khalafa. Khalafa has many meanings. Khalifa or khilaf, all those. To follow, okay, or to do something against. Khalafa. Okay. Now if I put alif, it becomes akhlafa. Akhlafa means to betray, to deceive someone. Okay, meaning changes. So akhlafa, to deceive or to betray. And as I just mentioned that if I put a ta at the end, it becomes the grammar of I did. So it becomes akhlaftu. Akhlaftu means I deceived, I betrayed. Fa'altu, ta brings the meaning of I in the past tense. So akhlaftu, I betrayed. I was lying to you. I was not telling you the truth. Shaitan is saying to the people. And kum means you. You means he keeps addressing the people who are standing in front of him. Akhlaftukum, fa means so. So I made a promise to you. Then fa means then or so. Then akhlaftu, I betrayed. Kum means you. So that's the word in the Quran. Fa akhlaftukum, I betrayed, I deceived you, I made a false promise to you, I did not keep my promise to you. That's all the meaning of akhlaftukum. Then he continues his speech. Okay. Then he says, notice that he is dumping everything on the people, mankind. He says, I did not do anything. You are the one who followed me. I just simply told you to do something. Then he further says, وَمَا كَانَ لِيَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ. Simple words, but we will understand one at a time. Then they say and. Wa. Ma means not. And not. Or and it was not. Kauna means to be. Kana means it was. Kana means it was. So the meaning will be Vama Kana, and it was not. Li is made of two parts, Li and Ya. Li, Ya means me, and me is a shaitan here. And La is a harf jar, so Li or Liya. Vama kana liya, and it was not for me or upon me or my. Alaikum, Allah means upon, and kum means you. Kum is again pointing to the mankind. So Allah kum, when you read them together, it's alaikum, over you, upon you. So I did not have, or to me, I was not over you, min sultanin. Sultan means authority, power. Min means any. So min sultanin, any authority. So I had no authority over you. He's saying that there was nothing that I had any authority or power to force you to do some things. I just invited you, you followed me in the worldly life. So shaitan is saving himself, just blaming the people that you are the ones who followed me. I was just whispering you, I was giving you false hopes. You followed me. So Vama Kana Liya, it was not for me or upon me. Alaikum, over you, min sultanin, any authority, any control, any power. I did not have any of those. I did not hold your hand and brought you to the wrong place. I suggested and you went yourself. Then he further says, Illa, except what I did, that I'm going to tell you now. An da'autukum. Illa means except. An means that. Then the word is dal, ain, and waw. This means to call someone. Dua is calling someone. Da'aw means to call. Okay? So if I put three fathas, da'aw, I called. Kum means you. Da'aw, actually you have to put fa'altu. Ta makes the meaning of I did. So fa'altu, da'awatu, and you have to pronounce it properly. So is da'awtu. Da'awmitu means I called. Kum, you people. So in the worldly life, I just called you, I invited you. That's I suggested to you. That's what the meaning of da'awtukum is. I only invited you to do the wrong thing. I whispered you. That's all I did. But what you did, fastajabtum. Let's understand that word. Okay. And these are very common words. Jim, waw, ba. And the word is to reply. Jawab is from the same words, means to reply someone. Okay. Jim, waw, and ba means to reply. Now, if I put these three letters, which we do to make the grammar, or a bigger word, ista and jim waw bin. First of all, istajaba, this waw is pronounced as alif because of a fatha, so it becomes istajaba. Istajaba means to respond. Okay. Istajaba means to respond. If you are calling someone, inviting someone to do something or to come and visit you, and the person responds to you by his action, that is istajaba. Okay? So istajaba means to respond not by the tongue only but by the action also. So istajaba. Then if you put fa'altum, fa'ala means to do. Fa'ala means to do. If you put a tum at the end, the meaning becomes you did. fa'altum, you did. So I put a tum at the end here, it becomes istajabtum, which is the word in the Quran. Istajabtum means you responded. He's saying you replied. You is this alif is not pronounced, so it becomes istajabtum. You responded. Fa means then. Da'awtukum, I invited you, I called you, you responded me. You said, yeah, I'll do it what you tell me to do. So that is the word istajabtum, fa. And so when you put a fa, do not pronounce this alif. So fastajabtum, you responded. Li means me or to me. So this word is li, to me. So you responded to me. You said, yeah, I'll do something what you're telling me to do. So he is completely clearing himself and putting all the blame upon the pupil of what he did in the worldly life. Then he continues his speech. Fala talumuni. Simple words. The word is lam, vav and mim. Lauma. And we know the word malamat in Urdu is used to blame someone, to condemn someone. Malamat. So lauma means to blame somebody. So when you have a fa'ala, to do, and you put a ta in the beginning, this becomes the grammar of you and future tense or present tense. You do. Taf'alu, this is the rule of the grammar. You put a ta in the beginning and pronounce taf'alu. The meaning is that you, one person, do or will do. Okay, because present and future have the same grammar. So you put a ta here, okay, and however you pronounce talum, talumu or talwamu, it means you blame. Okay, then you put a vav, it becomes a plural. Vuna, taf'aluna, you do. Plural. Vuna will plural. So la means not. So all of you do not blame me. La talumuna, and then you put a ya at the end, which means me. Then you pronounce talumuni. That's what it is in the Quran. La talumuni, talumuni. Do not. This is talumuna, but when you pronounce, because of the ya, this is pronounced as ya, kasra. Fala so talumuni. So don't blame me. Do not blame me. He is saying la talumuni. That's the fala talumuni. So do not blame me. Then again, the word is the same, but if you pronounce differently, lam, vav and mim, to blame, and if you just say lu mu, means it's a command, it's a hukum, blame anfusakum, your own selves. Valumu, vav means and, lumu, you blame anfusakum, anfusakum means self. So blame yourself. Don't blame me today. Blame your own selves. Okay. Every word is a very chosen and selected word that he is constantly dumping everything on the mankind, those who followed him. That don't blame me today, blame yourself. I invited you, you responded me. I had no authority over you. I made a false promise. Allah made the true promise. You are responsible. Then he further says, Wama antum bi musrikhiyya. Again, first it is ma antum bi musrikhikum. Ma ana, I am not. So ma means not. Ana means I, and I here is pointing to Shaitan himself. So he is saying ma ana, I am not. So when you combine these together to make a proper sentence, you say I am not. Ma ana, I am not. Then the next word is again very simple if you break down properly. So Suad, Ra and Kha are the root letters. Okay. The meaning of these three letters is to cry for help. If you ask someone, help me, help me, help me, that is the meaning of Saraha. Okay. Suad, Ra and Kha. Ask to help, ask to rescue me, do something to me to make life easy. So there are multiple meanings to protect, help me to protect, rescue me. I cry that you do some help to me, rescue me. So this is the meaning of Saraha. When we put a meme in the beginning, it becomes the person, like Salama, Aslama, Muslimun, Mu'minun. So by putting the meme becomes the person. So when you pronounce this become like Mu'minun, Muslimun, so it becomes Musrikhun. Musrikhun is a person that you cry for help. You ask, so what is he saying? Ma ana, I'm not. Musrikhun, someone you, and again the kum is after that, means you. Okay, you is the man count. So I'm not the one that I can help you, rescue you. You cry for help to me, I cannot do anything. I'm not. Mamana, I'm not that you, I can rescue you, I can help you, I can do anything to you. So that is the meaning. So when you combine Musrikhun and kum, this become Musrikhun and kum. So it becomes Musrikhu kum. And ma'ana, the B is a harf jar before that, means of or about, and harf jar will change this dhamma to a kasra. So the final word is as in the Quran, bimusrikhikum, bimusrikhikum, I am not the one, wamana, ma'ana, I'm not the one, bimusrikhikum, that I can be of any help. If you cry to help, I cannot do anything to you. So that's what Shaitan is saying. Then he further says that today is the day of judgment, so you cannot help me either. I'm also helpless here. So that is the next two words. Vama and not. Antum means you people. You are not. And then he is using the same word, Saraha. So first you make the Musrikhun. That's the way we made word. Musrikhun, helper, Musrikhun, and this time you put a ya. Ya means me, and Shaitan is saying that. Okay, so you combine them, Musrikhun or Musrikhui, but the ba is in the beginning, which is means of. So final word becomes Musrikhi. Ya. Okay. Be musrikhiya, of any help to me. I'm not of any help or rescuer to you, and you are not someone that I can cry and you can help me. So these are the opposite pointing to each other, that I am not someone that you can look at me for help or rescue you, and you are not, wamantum, and you people are not, bimusrikhiya, of anyone that who can help me. Okay, so then he cleared again himself. Then he further says, inni kafartu. So as I said, kafara means to reject or deny, and when we put a ta at the end, it becomes I deny. Kafartu, fa'altu, I did. Kafartu, I deny, I reject. That's what he's saying. Inni is, inna means surely, and ya means me. Indeed me, or I, kafarto, I deny, I reject. What do I deny? What do I reject? Bima ashraktumuni. Okay, B means of, ma means whatever. Bima means of what or of that. What do I reject? What do I deny here? What do I do the kufr of something? Ashraktumuni. So the word is sharaka. Sharaka means to have partnership. Sharaka. When we put an alif in the beginning, it becomes 4-letter and becomes ashraka. Ashraka means to do shirk, to associate someone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the meaning of ashraka. Again, the rule is same. Put a ta at the end, it becomes you do. Okay. Ashraktu, you associated. If you want to make a plural, then you add wuna. Ashraktumuna. You associated. Then, so this will become ashrakto. Plural will be tumuna. Ashraktum, ashraktumuna, and then ya means me. Okay. Bima, so what happens is that when you noon and ya come together, we don't write the sound of ya, but we just move a kasra here and then remove these two. So it's the same writing. Ashraktumuni, ashraktumuni, that you associated with me. Ashraktum, you associated. Ashraktumuni, you associated with me. Actually, I want to explain a little bit more because the way the word is made in Arabic is that you start with sharaka. Okay. Then you put an alif, it becomes ashraka. Ashraka means to associate. Then if you look at the word fa'ala, fa'ala means to do. When you put a tum at the end, just tum, it becomes the grammar of fa'al tum. Fa'ala means to do. Fa'al tum means you, and it's a plural. You plural did. So actually the breakdown is you did. Fa'al tum, by putting a tum, it becomes the grammar of you plural and the past tense. So we are going to first apply this rule. So you put a tum at the end. So it becomes ashraktum. First is ashraktum. Ashraktum. Ashraktum means you associated. Just like you did, you associated. Okay. Now, ashraktum. Now we are going to add a letter ya. Ya means me or I. Okay. So now when we combine these two, we apply a rule of noon which is called noon separation. Okay. Noon separation is placed on the top of the letter, and the purpose of this noon is called noon wiqaya. It is telling you that this word is different than this word. Do not combine the words, otherwise the meaning will change. If you do not put the noon, the meaning may change. So to keep the meaning separate, in Arabic we put this little noon, a separation, noon wiqaya, which is saying ya is a different word, ashraktum is a different word. Okay, so grammatically this is it. So ashraktum, you associated to me. or with me. That's what he's saying. Now, when you read them together, okay, the sound will be ashraktum munni. It's not very good. So what we do is, for pronunciation purpose, we just add a vowel to make it easy on the tongue. So it becomes ashraktumuni. It's easy to pronounce, so we just add the vowel for the sound. Ashraktumuni. You associated with me. So with that, so many changes. The final word as it is there. And again, as I said, this ni is written as this way at the end. Okay, only noon with a kasra. Ashraktumuni, you associated with me. Inni kafarto, I reject, I deny, bima, of whatever. Ashraktumuni, you are associating with me, whatever you are associating with me in the worldly life. You were doing the shirk. Okay. Then he further says, min qablu. Qabl means before. Min qablu means before this, means before in the worldly life. Whatever you were doing, associating with me, I deny that today. Inni kafartu. Then this is last four words is that inna means surely. And here something interesting to notice is that the word starts with surely, inna. The word is zalimuna. Zalim is one person who does the wrong thing. Zalim is one person who does zulm. Zulm means to do the wrong thing. Zalimun is the first word. Okay. When you make the plural becomes zalimuna, and which is written as zalimuna. This has to be first. Zalimuna. Inna is the word that affects on the noun, just like inna Allahu becomes inna Allaha. So inna, if it's a plural, it changes waw to a ya, so it becomes zalimina. Inna zalimina, you read them together. Indeed wrongdoers. Inna zalimina, indeed those who did the wrong. Then further, next word is lahum. Lahum means for. For means to those people. What is for them? Azabun. Azabun means punishment, and alim is a very severe, painful punishment. So azabun alimun for them is a very severe or painful punishment. Now, these last four lines, four words, inna zalimina lahum azabun alimun. This can be a word or a statement from Allah. Not necessarily that Shaitan is saying that, but this could be at the end of all that. Allah is telling those people who did wrong, my decision, my judgment is that they will suffer the severe punishment now, painful punishment. So this could be a statement from Shaitan, or we could be understood as a statement, final four words, that it is a statement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that after all that has been quoted, what Shaitan spoke, Allah is telling the reader that if you are doing wrong in this worldly life, watch, it's going to be a painful, severe punishment for you. And the one who is leading to you, he will just try to excuse himself from everything, and he'll just blame you again over there. So it's a very good message, very powerful message for the reader, for the listener, that they should think about this and see where it is going to lead to us on the day of judgment. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand the Quran correctly and act upon. Sadaqallahul Azim.